most old-time radio shows have full orchestras. Here's our orchestra.
All right.
And he really does a good job of it.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the scary Halloween edition of those thrilling days of yesteryear. It was a dark and swarmy night.
Excuse me. Sorry. Let me try that again. Welcome to another episode of those thrilling days of yesteryear. It was a dark and swarmy night. Today we have 2 episodes from the sci-fi / horror / adventure series Escape, which is a lot of slashing when you think about it. From May 23rd, 1948, we have a thrilling He-Man adventure, Leiningen versus the Ants. And also, from March 17th, 1950, one of the most famous horror stories in radio history, 3 Skeleton Key. We think you'll be overrun with horror. Afterwards, you'll get the joke. Speaking of horror, between episodes, the sophisticated songbird Margie Gustafson will regale us with one of Ernie Kovacs's favorite ditties. But now we will do our best to recreate these 2 shows for you as they were done in their original airing, complete with music, sound effects, and, well, just a few pests and vermin scuttling about. I don't know what to see. So now, you may wish to imagine that you are sitting in a live studio audience anxiously awaiting for their favorite performers to do their thing. Or imagine that you are sitting in the living room with the family all gathered around the old Philco radio, anxiously awaiting for your favorite show to start. For now, we take you back to those thrilling days of yesteryear.
Isolated on a remote plantation in the crawling Amazon jungle, and an immense army of ravenous ants is closing in on you, swarming in to eat you alive. A deadly black army from which there is no escape.
Escape, produced by William N. Robeson, carefully contrived to free you from the 4 walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight, we escape to the Amazon jungle and to a creeping, crawling terror, as Carl Stevenson told it in his gripping story, Leiningen versus the Ants.
While performing my duty as district commissioner. As my boat neared his plantation landing, I saw him upon the riverbank regarding me with mild interest. A great hulk of a man with bristling gray hair, bulky nose, and pale eyes, his entire appearance somehow suggesting an aging and shabby ego. He escorted me to the terrace and had a drink brought. I came quickly to the point of my visit and issued my warning. Leiningen puffed placidly at his huge cigar and listened as I told him, unless they alter their course, and there's no reason why they should, they'll reach your plantation in 2 days at the latest.
Well, it was decent of you paddling all this way just to give me the tip.
Tip?
Commissioner, even a herd of crocodiles couldn't drive me from this plantation of mine.
But these aren't creatures you can fight. They're an elemental force, a gigantic catastrophe. 10 miles long, 2 miles wide. Ants! Nothing but ants! And each one as big as your thumb. And each of them a fiend from hell. Unless you clear out at once, there'll be nothing left of you but a skeleton picked as clean as your own plantation will be.
I'm not getting out.
But you can't fight me.
Yes, I can. I've got the best weapon there is, Commissioner. Intelligence.
But can't I make you understand the hidden...
I think it's you who do not understand. In the 3 years I've been here, I've met and defeated more than one catastrophe. Flood, drought, a plague. Events which caused many of my neighbors to flee for their lives. No, Commissioner, All my life I have lived with one creed. The human brain needs only to become fully aware of its powers to conquer even the elements.
Liningen, your obstinacy is endangering not only your own life, but the lives of your workers and their families. You don't know these ants. I tell you, you don't know these ants. But Liningen merely sat there, puffing at his cigar and regarding me with a smug grin, and I knew it was hopeless. As I boarded my launch and cast off, I realized I'd never met a man like that, and I could not help
Wondering about the strange look in the commissioner's eyes as he boarded his launch and cast off. Undoubtedly, he thought me insane. Well, he would have not been the first to think so. But I, Liningen, knew my own powers. I was sure of myself. I knew that intelligence, directed aright, always makes man the master of his fate. That night, I called my Indian workers together in front of the plantation house. I saw their faces go ashen with terror as I told them the ants were coming. Watch them as they milled around, muttering. I said nothing more to them. Finally, one of the men stepped forward. Ross, the foreman.
Patron, we have worked hard here all these 3 years, all of us. We have built the finest plantation in this district. We all share in it. It has been home for all of us, our families. Now, the ants come.
So?
Those ditches we dug last year, the pipe we put in the ground, that was for the ants?
Yes, that was for the ants.
If we move our families across the river, the ants could not reach them?
Yes, that's right. And you?
The ants are mighty. We know what they can do. All of us think you are mighty. Patron, we will stay and fight with you against the ants.
I knew that the men would give me that answer. I counted on it. I thought of the commissioner and wondered what he would say in such unquestioning confidence. Would he still think I was insane?
All that
Or
night,
mad?
I could not get Liningen out of my mind. One man who calmly evaluated his chances against a deadly menace coolly decided he could win and was willing to stake his life on it, to risk a horrible death for it. It was terrifying, yet it was fascinating. The next morning, I sent for my assistant. Together, we went to the huge map of the district which hung from a wall of my office and checked the last report position of the ants.
Last night they reached here, about 70 miles above this forked river.
Yeah, traveling southeast?
Yes.
Directly toward Liningen.
Toward, who's there?
Oh, that plantation at the bend in the river belongs to a man named Liningen. When would you say the ants will reach there?
Why, I don't know. I imagine about tomorrow noon.
Tomorrow noon. Still time.
Still time? What do you mean, sir?
Why, nothing. But what did I mean? Still time for what? For Liningen to flee, or still time for me to leave? Even as I rejected the thought with horror, I knew that the fascination of that man was more than I could resist. That Liningen's fight was drawing me back to that plantation and death. I knew now, past all doubt, that I was going back. I had to. It was 10 o'clock in the morning when I rounded the bend and saw Liningen's plantation before me. I put in at the dock and tied up at the launch. Then I saw him, standing on the bank above me, arms folded, stubby cigar in his mouth, and that same smug grin on his face. I made my way up to him.
Well, back with another warning, Commissioner.
Oh?
Back to stay a while.
Yes. You don't seem very surprised.
No, I'm not.
You expected me?
I thought you'd be back. Here, come along. We'll get some horses. You'll want to ride around the plantation. Take a look at the defenses I rigged up.
Yes, I'll want to see the defenses.
And the ants. We'll be getting glimpses of them before long, I should think.
Yes. the ants. The defenses of London and devised were quite impressive. Surrounding 3 sides of the plantation like a huge horseshoe was a ditch, 12 feet wide. The ends of this horseshoe-shaped ditch ran into the river, which formed the 4th side of the plantation. And at the upriver entrance to the ditch, Lyningen had constructed a dam by which river water would be diverted into the ditch. A large handmade hand wheel controlled the floodgate of the dam. And apparently, Lyningen had ordered it opened immediately after my arrival, for as we now approached the ditch and rode along it, I could see that it was nearly full.
So how do you like my first line of defense, Commissioner?
It's reassuring, like a moat around a castle.
Unless the ants know how to build rafts, they won't reach the plantation. But this is only the outermost. There's a better one than this. Here, come along. We'll go up on the high ground where the buildings are. We can get a view from there.
Lyningen.
Yes.
I didn't see any women or children around the plantation, or any animals.
Yes, that's right. Move them across the river.
Then even you think there is danger.
Not because of danger, Commissioner. A matter of efficiency.
Efficiency?
Yes. Cuts down the efficiency of the men if they're worried about their families. Critical situations only become crises when oxen and women get excited.
I see.
Ah, here we are. See this ditch?
It's much smaller than the other.
Yes, you've noticed how all the buildings are on this piece of high ground. The inner ditch surrounds them. It's lined with concrete.
But even filled with water, this is no barrier. It's not big enough. Why, if the ants get this far, they'll
get no farther. The ditch wasn't built for water, Commissioner. You see the pipes leading into it? See those storage tanks up on the hill? Petrol. We can throw up a wall of flame. Care to bet they won't like that?
I hope you're right. Lyningen, look, over at the edge of the jungle, all those animals.
Yes, running like the wind. Everything from jaguars to monkeys.
Good heavens.
Remember, they do not have any ditches.
But can't they escape?
They'll be all right as long as they don't get caught between the river and the ants. Well, they can outrun the crawlers. But if they get trapped, it's either the ants or the crocodiles. Hey, look! Look over there on the horizon. There are your ants. Look at them!
It was a sight I will never forget. Over the range of hills, as far as I could see, crept a darkening hem, ever longer and broader, until the shadows spread across the entire slope, then downward, uncannily swift, and all the green herbage on the entire slope was being mowed as by a giant sickle, leaving only the vast, moving shadow extending, deepening, and always moving nearer.
They're a hideous lot.
Lyningen, we can't last against that. Look at them. Well, they'll fill your ditches with their corpses and still have enough to destroy every one of us. We've got to run.
Well, no, they haven't got to us yet, and they never will.
The hostile army was approaching in perfect formation. No human battalions, however well drilled, could ever hope to rival the precision of that advance. Upon a front that moved forward as uniformly as a straight line, the ants drew nearer and nearer to the water ditch. As they approached, 2 outlying wings of the army detached themselves from the main body and started marching along the sides of the ditch, no doubt expecting at some point to find a crossing. During this hour-long flanking movement, the main army remained still. Across the scant 12 feet of ditch, I stared at them, and they stared back at me. A solid mass, every one as big as my thumb, with reddish-black body and long legs. Suddenly, a sound so unearthly as to freeze our blood jerked our heads in the direction of the jungle on the far side of the ditch. coming toward the ditch at a stumbling gallop was a singular being, a writhing, animal-like blackened statue with a shapeless head and 4 quivering feet. It was a stag, covered over and over with ants. Lineagen threw up his rifle, and the stag fell lifeless to the ground, its agonies at an end. Horrified as I was, curiosity impelled me to glance at my watch. I had to know how long the ants would take. After 6 long minutes, only the white polished bones of the stag remained. Now I could see a change in Lineagen. Gone was the sporting zest of the novel contest. In its place was a cold, violent purpose. He had to beat the ants, because now he knew how long it would take them once they got to us. Around 4 in the afternoon, the ants' scouts, having found no crossing, there was a stirring among the main army. And then an immense flood of ants, about 100 yards in width, commenced pouring in a glimmering black cataract down the far slope of the ditch. Thousands drowned instantly, but the rest began using the bodies as bridges. Lineagen immediately swung into action.
Ahead! Si, patron! Get to the dam. Open the floodgates a little more. We've got to get the water in the ditch moving faster.
Si, senor.
Look at them drown in the thousands.
But they keep coming. Even though the current carries many of them away, they're advancing.
We'll fix them. Ross!
Senor.
How about those shovels and petrol sprinklers? You pass them out to the men?
Senor, it has been done.
Get all hands here in a hurry. This looks like the spot for action. Commissioner.
Yes.
Getting to see what I was talking about?
What do you mean?
About intelligence being more than a match for anything it tackles. Take the ants. They've got no intelligence. If they had, they'd have attacked along the whole length of the ditch instead of a narrow front like this. They'd been across by now. Too bad I'm not running their campaign for them.
You could joke about it like that, with ants halfway across the ditch?
All right, men! Busy with the shovels now! Dump some sand and clods on them. See how they like that? You, with the petrol sprinkler, start pumping. They don't like it, Commissioner. They don't like it a bit. Look at them.
Yes, but look at the ones on the far side of the ditch. Whole tons of them rolling into the water. The rest are using them for bridges.
Yes, smarter than I thought. They're wiping their trucks, too.
Some of them are getting across.
Well, grab a shovel then, Commissioner. Make them regret it. What's the matter?
The end of the petrol, senor. They're on their arms.
At the end of the petrol, idiot! Don't use your hands in the petrol! Don't stop now, the rest of you! Climb up! Climb up!
We can't permit that, senor. We must not.
Keep at it! Keep at it! Don't stop now! Aha! The water's moving faster!
Hill's got the floodgates open.
Yes, they can't hold their own against the current now. Look at them, Commissioner! The water is carrying them away! We beat them! We won out!
It was true. Lineagen had won, at least the opening round. The floodgates were left open to forestall any night crossing, but when dawn came, the dark blanket was still there, motionless across the ditch. Then we noticed the feverish activity on the other side of the plantation. Here, a grove of tamarind trees lined the far end of the ditch, and every tree swarmed with the crawling insects. But instead of eating the leaves, they were merely gnawing through the stems, so that a thick green shower fell steadily to the ground. Well, it looks as if it's feeding time for our friends, eh?
Ross?
Senor.
Have all the petrol pumps brought here. Get everyone over here except the lookouts on the other side, and pass out the shovels.
Si, senor.
Going to deprive them of a meal?
A meal?
Aren't they cutting the leaves, down the leaves for food?
No, I wish they were. Looks like I underestimated them when I said they didn't have intelligence.
What do you mean?
I said if they wanted to get across, they'd have to have rafts. Well, that's just what they've got. Those leaves are their rafts.
Even as he spoke, the leaves went tumbling trickling down the far bank by the thousands. The current drew them away from the bank, and each leaf carried several ants.
Don't worry. As long as you keep spraying them and shoveling dirt on their ass, they can't land.
But there will be too many!
It's true. Look, more leaves in the ditch all the time. Well, we'll have a solid carpet to walk across in a minute.
Not so fast, Commissioner. I still got a trick up my sleeves for them.
The water! The ditch is drying up.
Yes, of course it's drying up. That's the plan. Those are the orders I sent to the dam.
Are you mad? As soon as it's empty, what's to prevent the ants from... Look! The water's down. It's almost dry. They'll be able to come across the bottom.
They'll not make it. The man at the dam will have opened the gates by now.
To flood the ants?
Right.
But what a chance to take. If anything should happen.
Aha! Here it comes. Here comes the water. Ha! We'll give it to the crawlers in the ditch to ride in. Right up to the river. There, look at them go.
Lineage's tactics were successful at first. The violent flow of water at the original depth raced through the ditch, overwhelming leaves and ants and sweeping them along. 3 times the ditch was emptied. 3 times the ants raced across the bottom. 3 times the rushing water arrived just in time, carried them away. But the 4th time, as the water lowered nearly to the bottom of the ditch, we waited in vain for the rushing water.
Senor!
And then...
Senor!
What's the matter? What's gone wrong at the dam?
The ants! Just as the man at the dam lowered the water to almost the bottom, the ants attacked! Before he could open the floodgates, he was almost surrounded! He ran! The ants kept coming! They ran across the ditch!
Lineage stood motionless, absorbing the news of its defeat without a word. Then he raised his pistol and fired 3 shots into the air. The prearranged signal for all men to retreat instantly to the second line of defense, the concrete ditches more than a mile from the point of invasion. Soon after we arrived there, the natives commenced straggling in, silently. Lineage waited until all of them had gathered, then he spoke to them.
Well, lads, we won the first round, lost the second, but we'll smash the crawlers yet. Anyone who thinks otherwise can draw his pay and push off. There's rafts enough on the river and plenty of time to still reach them.
No.
You'll stay there.
Yes,
Good. Thank you, lads. And you, Commissioner?
I can't persuade you to give up the fight.
You cannot.
Then I stay too.
I knew you would.
Senor, a few of the ants have reached the ditch.
They're trying to get across?
No, senor.
Oh, I didn't think they would. There's plenty of food out there for them. My fields and orchards, the work of 3 years. Ought to last them until morning, anyway.
Yes, we were safe for that night. But the next morning, the black swarm was solid around us, and the shock troops were hard at work. They were dropping shreds of bark and twigs and leaves into the petrol-filled ditches, forming a floating bridge across the surface of the liquid. Line engine stood silently watching the operation, and I could see a grudging admiration in his face. Then after several hours, the attack came. Down the ditch they poured, millions of them, and across the bridge of twigs rapidly approached the inner side. Line engine sat motionless, watching them. Line engine, for the love of God, don't just sit there like a statue. They'll be on us any moment.
Let them fill the ditch first. Now! All right! Everyone back! Ross!
Si, senor!
Hand me the torch!
Si, senor!
Now we'll see how our friends like a little heat!
Flames from the ditch shot into the air, devouring ants by the millions. It was some time before the petrol had burned down the bed of the ditch. But when it did, the devils came back for more. Again, Line Engine fired the ditch to destroy them, and still again, they came on. But at each successive firing, the path of the ants grew easier because of the film of the ash which now covered the petrol. As they returned to the assault, time after time, a slow, sickening horror crept into my brain. I looked quickly at Line Engine, then at the petrol tanks. He read my gaze and nodded slowly.
That's right, Commissioner. We could hold them off forever if our supply of petrol was unlimited. But it isn't. We've got enough to fill the ditch once more.
Luggage, isn't there any way at all? Well, we got to do something.
Yes, I know that there must be a way. Yes!
What is it?
We'll flood the whole plantation.
Flood? But how?
The river's highest than at any point, except this high ground we're on now. If the river was dammed all the way, it'd overflow that stone breakwater and flood the whole plantation. We've got to close the floodgate at the dam. That'll do it.
You're mad. The dam is more than a mile away. More than a mile away.
Lads, listen to me. Listen, lads. I'm proud of you. Now, there's still a chance. By shutting the floodgates to the dam and flooding the whole plantation from the river. The moment I'm over the ditch, set fire to it. That'll allow time for the flood to wash away the ants. Then all you have to do is wait for me.
It's impossible. You can't get to the dam, let alone back.
That's where you're wrong, Commissioner. I'll get there and I'll get back. Take care of things while I'm gone, huh?
I watched him as he calmly pulled on high leather boots, drew gauntlets over his hands, and stuffed the spaces between breeches and boots and gauntlets and arms with petrol-soaked rags. He shielded his eyes with close-fitting mosquito goggles and plugged his nostrils and ears with cotton. Then the natives drenched his clothes with petrol. Ross, who acted as a doctor to the men, smeared a salve over him, and finally, Leiningen was ready. And as he stood calmly surveying...
Ready for the run, I realized that this was as it should be. I, Leiningen, would meet the ants and defeat them, or be defeated by them. Leiningen versus the ants. Yes, it was right that it should be like this. But now there was no more time for thought, only action. I took a deep breath, and then bounded across the ditch in among the ants. I ran in long, equal strides, and with one thought, one sensation in my being, I must get through. I dodged the trees and shrubs. Except for the split seconds my soles touched the ground, the ants would have no opportunity to alight on me. I ran on. I was halfway to the dam before I felt ants under my clothes, and a few on my face. I struck at them mechanically, scarcely conscious of their bites. And the dam drew towards me slowly, and the distance grew less. Finally, only 100 yards away. 50. And I was there! I gripped the ant-covered wheel, but hardly had I seized it when a horde of ants flowed over my hands and arms. I strayed. Slowly, the wheel turned more. The floodgates were swinging slowly shut, and then it was shut. The water was rising behind the breakwater, closer to the top, closer, and then it was spilling over. The flooding of the plantation had begun. I let go of the wheel, and I started back through the ants. I was coated from head to foot with the beams. Tongues of fire stabbed at me as they bit into my flesh. I almost lost my head with pain as I ran, knocking ants from my body, brushing them from my bloody face. And then one bit me just below the rim of my goggles, and I managed to tear it away. But the agony of the bite, when its venom drilled into the eye nerves, I saw now through the circles of fire into a milky mist. I was almost blinded, but I knew that if I tripped and fell, and I ran on, my heart pounding as if it would burst, blood roaring in my ears, a giant's fist battering my lungs. That I could see dimly that the wall of flame at the ditch, but it was too far away. I did not last half that distance. I stumbled. I fell. I felt myself being swarmed over, devoured, tried to rise, a great weight. Then, suddenly, the vision of the half-devoured stag in my brain. 6 minutes, then nothing but bones. I couldn't let that happen to me. I couldn't die like that. To my feet. To my feet. Drag myself forward, towards the flame. The ditch. The ring of flames. Closer now. Oh, a little closer.
Waited for hours, and all at once, with a blazing ring around us, an apparition hurtled and fell full length on the ground. It was Leiningen, alive with ants and unconscious, with glazing eyes and lacerated face. We rushed to him, stripped off his clothes, and tore at the ants that covered him. His body seemed almost one open wound. In some places, the bones were showing. Later, as the curtain of flame lowered, I looked out to where the blanket of ants had been and saw only a vast expanse of water covering the entire plantation and working its way to within a few feet of the concrete ditch. The ants were gone, drowned, and Leiningen had won. He lay on his bed, his body swathed from head to foot with bandages, but alive and still in command.
Everything in order.
Everything's in order.
I told you I'd come back. Even if I am a bit streamlined.
Escape, produced by William N. Robeson and directed by Norman MacDonald, today brought you Leiningen vs. the Ants by Carl Stevenson, adapted for radio by Robert Griff, with William Conrad as Leiningen and Lou Merrill as the Commissioner. Music was conceived by Cy Fury. Next week.
You are groping through a dark alleyway in the French Quarter of New Orleans, with terror driving you on. And always before your eyes is the malevolent stare of a voodoo man, striking you with a deadly curse, from which you must escape.
Next week, we escape with William Irish's eerie story of a voodoo-haunted band leader, Papa Benjamin. Good night then, until the same time next week, when we again offer you Escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight, we escape to a lonely lighthouse off the steaming jungle coast of French Guiana and a nightmare world of terror and violence as we bring you again, in response to hundreds of requests, 3 Skeleton Key, starring Vincent Price.
Cylinder welded by iron rods and concrete to the key itself. A bare black rock, 150 feet long, maybe 40 wide, and that's at low tide. At high tide, just the lighthouse rising 110 feet straight up out of the ocean, and all about it, the churning water, gray-green, scum-dappled, warm as soup, and swarming with gigantic bat-like devilfish, great violet schools of Portuguese man-of-war, and yes, sharks, the big ones. The 15-footers. And as if that weren't enough, there was a hot, dank, rotten-smelling wind that came at us day and night off the jungle swamps of the mainland. A wind that smelled like death. A wind that had smelled the slow and frightful death that came one night to this bare, black rock. Set in the base of the light was a watertight bronze door. And in you went, and up, yes, up, and round, past the tanks of oil and the coils of rope, casks of wicks and racks of lanterns, sacks of spuds and cartons and cans, and up, round and round. Over the light storeroom was the food storeroom, and over the food storeroom was the bunk room, where the 3 of us slept. And over the bunk room was the living and cooking room, and over the living and the cooking room was the night. She was a beauty. Big steel, a bronze baby with sun gleaming through the glass walls all about, bouncing blinding little beams off the shiny reflectors, glittering and reflecting through her lenses. The whole gigantic bulk of her balanced like a ballerina on a glistening steel axle of her rotary mechanism. She was a sweetheart of a light. And at night, you'd lie there on the stone deck of the gallery with her revolving smoothly and quietly over your head, easing her bright white eye 360 degrees around the horizon. You'd lie there and watching to see that the feeders kept working, that everything ran right. And it wouldn't be bad. The other 2 fellas snoring in their sacks 2 levels down. You'd smoke your pipe to kill the stink of the wind, and it wouldn't be bad. About those other 2, Louis and Auguste, what a pair. Louis, he was the head man. He was a big fellow from the Basque country. Black beard, little black eyes, and a pair of arms that, oh, I tell you, those arms were as big around as my legs. Yes, head man he was, and what word he let go was law. A silent fellow, and although I spent my first 2 weeks trying to strike up a real conversation, the most I could ever get out of him was...
John, I took up this profession because I don't like people. They want to talk too much. It's quiet work, like tending. Let's keep it that way. You're getting to be as bad as Auguste. I thought maybe for once send somebody who could keep his mouth shut.
When he accused me of becoming like Auguste, I quieted down because Auguste was the talkingest man I'd ever met. The talkingest and the ugliest. He was hunchbacked, stood 4 feet high, had red hair and big blue eyes. It seems he'd been an actor.
Yes, indeed. Played in over 200 different productions, dear boy, at the Grand Guignol. Oh, but it was monstrous, horrible, the way we used to scare the audiences. I was hated. Yes, they used to throw things and hiss and bare their teeth at me. Finally, it got too bad. I couldn't stand it any longer. I gave up the theater. My nerves, you understand. Yes, I gave it up completely. I really did. Couldn't stand it any longer.
It all started one morning at 2:30. I was on watch, laying on the cool stone deck, pulling on my pipe, staring out at the blackness, the phosphorescent corners and the big yellow stars. And out of the corner of my eye, I noticed something show up for a second. Something the light had touched far off. I waited for her to come around again, and when she did, there it was. A three-master, a big one, about a half a mile off and coming down out of the northwest, coming straight for us. Well, you must understand, our light was there for a reason, a very good reason. Dangerous submerged reefs surrounded us and ships kept clear. But this one, this sailing vessel was coming straight on. I went over to the gallery door and yelled, "Louis! Louis!" Couldn't understand it. I waited for the light to come around again.
What is it?
Ship headed for the reef!
Coming right up.
I had the glasses out now. I couldn't read her name, but I could see her quite plainly, all sails set. The foam creaming away under her bow, her beautiful lines, a Dutch ship, I guessed her. But why didn't she turn? Every time it passed, our light hit her with the glare of day.
Ship? Where?
Northwest. The light will touch her in a moment.
Can't they see?
Look at her. She just keeps coming on.
Yeah, square heads.
What is it? What is it?
Notch, northwest.
I know what it is.
Huh? What?
The Dutchman. The Flying Dutchman. We did a play about her once. Oh, what a performance. You ghastly galleon, hag-ridden, curse-ridden. Must I...
Shut up, will ya? She's luffing.
Yes.
Sloppy way to come about. She's derelict, that's it.
Derelict?
Abandoned. The crew left it for some reason or other. But instead of sinking, she's gone on, running before every wind.
Oh, she'll not run long. Not with these reefs to break her up.
Beautiful ship. Now, why would men leave a beautiful ship like that?
She didn't ram us, although we expected it. But as we waited for the crash, she luffed again, caught some odd gust, and went about. We watched her the rest of those black hours, heeling and rocking, pushed and pulled by every stray wind, every freak current. Watched her until the dawn came, until the sea turned from black to a pearly gray, and on she came again, heading for us. We all had our glasses trained on her now.
August, you killed the light.
Right, Chief.
She doesn't look so good by daylight. Think she'll ground this time?
What?
I say, do you think she'll ground this time?
This is impossible. Absolutely impossible.
What?
Here, take my glasses. They're better than yours.
All right. What is it you're... I had to focus, and then my breath froze in my throat. The decks were swarming with a brown carpet that looked like a gigantic fungus, but undulating. And on the masts and yards, the guys and all were hundreds, no thousands, no millions, I don't know, an endless number of enormous rats.
See them?
Yes, I see them.
Now we know why she's derelict.
Yes. Now we know.
What are you doing? Here, give me a look.
Yes, give him the glasses. Take a look, chatterbox. Give you something to talk about.
She's still heading for us.
Yes.
If she's going to turn, she better do it soon.
Suppose she doesn't.
You mean suppose she just piles up on the quay?
It's low tide.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Now, where's all your conversation now, August, huh? Here, want the glasses again? Want another look?
No!
She's still coming on.
Go away! Go away!
Turn, will you? Turn, I say! I pray you, turn!
She's cracking up!
The rats! Look! On the water, like a carpet!
They're swimming.
Sure they're swimming. Those are ship's ants, rats.
But they're swimming for the rocks.
The door below! It's open!
Come on! Down we went, racing down the stone stairs, taking them 3 and 4 at a time. Scared? You bet we were scared.
August, Pick at the windows. Maybe they can climb. We don't know.
Right, Chief, but hurry! Hurry!
Look, see them?
No. Oh, yes, I do. Up at the other end of the rock.
Look at them.
Millions.
They smell us. Here they come. Close the door.
Can't! It's stuck!
Here, let me. Close the damn door.
Made it!
That was close.
One got in. Look! There!
Get him!
He was big as a tomcat. Bigger, and his eyes were wild and red. His teeth long and sharp and yellow. He went for us, starved and ravenous. We fought him. Fought that one rat all over the room. Oh, it was, believe me, I do not exaggerate, it was like fighting a panther.
Got him.
We better get aloft. As we ran up the winding staircase, we passed the tiny windows at various levels, and each and every one was a thick, wriggling, screaming current of brown fur. I was ahead of Louis, and I dreaded each successive level. Suppose they'd found their way in.
Look at them! Will you look at them?
It's a nightmare.
Will you look at them?
The air of the gallery was thick and fetid with the stink of them. The light was dim, brown, filtered through the crawling mass that swarmed all over the glass about us. We could not see the sky, nothing but them. Their red eyes, their claws, their wriggling hairy snouts, their teeth, the rats. They screamed and howled and threw themselves against the glass. They were starving, and we three, we stood very quietly in the center of the room, the glass room, under our beautiful light.
What can we do, Chief?
Take it easy, old man. Take it easy.
I can't. I just can't.
It won't do any good to just stand there and shake.
Yeah, that's right. Anybody want a cigarette?
Yes, I'll have one. Thank you.
Good boy. You gotta keep calm about this thing. Here's a light.
They don't like the fire, do they?
Guess not.
Give me another match. Oh, you don't like that much, do you, rats?
Don't rile them, August.
Give me some more matches. Strike them until they get scared and go away.
They won't go away. Not until...
Finish it, Chief. Not until what?
Not until they've been fed.
You can take just so much horror, and then you get used to it. And they were interesting to watch, you know. They couldn't understand the glass. They could see us, and they could rush at us, but this thin, invisible barrier held them off, stopped them. From time to time, we caught a glimpse of the rocks below. More rats down there, swarming brown velvet in the tropical sunlight. And then the tide began to rise. If only it would drown some of them.
Ship's rats don't drown. No, sir. You cannot drown one of them. They're all climbing up the tower.
This bunch around us is getting thicker.
Yeah. Say, what's the time?
6:45.
You've got first watch, Sean.
Right.
Wake me up at 10.
I will.
Come along, August.
It was getting dark. On one side of the room was lit in a soft filtered light. Sunset through the rats. Before. Very pretty. I set the wicks, checked my fuel, and then lit the lamp. It caught them, lit them in their gigantic wriggling web of pale, hairless bellies and twitching red tails and bright eyes. Then I started the rotary motor. The light drove them mad as she swung slowly and smoothly about. It blinded them in the fierce stabbing bar of light moving continuously about, ever turning, ever touching, ever moving around and around. And they, twisting and stuttering, eyes flaming when they were struck by the light. The brown light moving around and behind on the dark side of the room. So close I dared not turn my back, but you cannot help turning your back when you're in a room made of glass. On the dark side of the room, you could not see them, only their eyes. Thousands of points of blank red light, blinking and twinkling like the stars of hell. Louis relieved me at 10. I didn't get much sleep that night, and when I came up into the gallery early the next morning, there stood Auguste, his back to me. He was bowing to the rats, waving his arms and making a speech.
My dear, dear audience, I'm going to play once again that magnificent role which made me the toast of the Paris theatre. Prelate, the evil genius of the medieval underworld. I am he who can guide the dark soul of the Maréchal into the nether parts. Do not be frightened, little children. I will not hurt you much.
I stood staring at him, wonderstruck, but he didn't notice me. The man had gone mad. He kept turning, telling his stories to all the rats, leaving no one out. Auguste! Auguste!
Ah, another one. A late comer. Take a seat on the aisle, dear patron.
Auguste! Stop it! Stop it! But he didn't stop. He went on bowing and scraping to the rats, his big blue eyes rolling and winking, his red hair waving about him. I grabbed him by the arms and slapped his face. He looked at me like a child, and then his face screwed up. He looked as though he were about to cry. Go below! Go on!
Very well then. Later, my dear audience. Later. Matinee today.
Sure, he was crazy, but I guess we all were. A few hours later, he came back up and caught Louis and me teasing the rats. Yes, sounds horrible. It was fun. We could get right up against the glass and make faces at them. It drove them crazy. They would scratch away trying to get at our eyes. Louis was even cuter about it. He'd pull up a piece of bread out of his pocket and press it against the glass. The rats would scramble into a ball, a solid ball, biting each other and clustering like grapes. From time to time, the whole knot of them would slip and fall 110 feet to the surface below.
Look at the sharks!
They're eating them.
Yeah, the sharks are our friends. Here, I'll get another bunch together. Here, my beauties. That's it. Pile up, kill each other. There they go.
Auguste joined in too. Oh, very ingenious Auguste. He learned that if he spread-eagled himself on the glass, they'd bunch and bundle against his figure, and then he'd leap back.
Look, my portrait in rats.
It went on all day, and then I was lying in bed. It was about midnight. I was very tired, and I was just beginning to fall off to sleep when I became conscious of a new sound. Couldn't figure it at first. I got up and lit the lamp and went to the window. Even as I looked at it, I saw one of the panes begin to sag in. They had eaten away at the wood. Louis, come quick!
What is it?
They found a way in. I held the glass with my hand. Now they were all going crazy, and assured of the success of this maneuver, they were all nibbling away at the wood. Louis ran below and then returned with a large sheet of tin. We spread it against the window, hammering it into place. Even as we did so, we felt heavy bodies thudding against the other side as the window gave way.
That ought to hold. Well, if it doesn't, we're done for.
Rats can't eat tin.
No, they can't. What was that?
I don't know.
It came from below.
The storeroom. Window. Oh no.
They're in. They're swarming up the stairs.
Drop the trap.
Right.
But two of them got in.
Let's go after them.
We didn't have to go after them. They came at us. I leaped to one one side and grabbed a marlin spike, swung and smashed one in midair. I whirled to see Louis with the other. It had ripped his hand open and the blood was pouring all over the place. He held his hand aloft and kicked at the snarling rat. I stepped in and swung and got him.
My hand! He got my hand!
That's both of them, Louis. I'll get you something to tie that up.
Blood! Look at it! It's my blood! I'm bleeding!
Don't worry. Don't worry about it, Louis. Look, here, I'll wind this handkerchief around it. It'll be okay.
Blood!
There. It's not bad, just a flesh wound. And then I became conscious of another new sound. They were gnawing their way through the wooden trapdoor. I watched the wood fascinated, and even as I did, it began to give way. A bristling, whiskery nose showed through. Louis, we've got to go up. The next level is the living quarters and the kitchen. I slammed the trapdoor there too, but it too was wood.
My blood? What are you gonna do?
I don't know. They'll be through this one in a moment.
The gallery. The trapdoor in the gallery is metal.
Good, come on. Made it. We lay across the trapdoor, exhausted, while below us the rats took over the entire tower. I could hear them howling, fighting over our food supply, our water, our leather. And all about us, the others screamed and glared at us, swayed in the tangled mass, hypnotized by the ever-turning light. By morning, the air in the little room was horrible. Until now, we'd been getting air from the tower below. Now that was sealed off, and so was all our food and water. We lay exhausted, panting, waiting. The hours crawled on. I was almost dozing from fatigue when I saw a sight that brought me too fast.
Would you like to meet my beauty? Would you? I hold the powers of life and death, and I can let you in with all.
Orkush was standing by the glass, and in one hand he held a wrench. He was tapping the glass gently, not quite hard enough to break it. I eased myself to my feet, and slowly, very slowly, tiptoed toward him.
All I had to do was tap just a little harder.
I found a coil of wire in the toolkit, and I trussed him up, fastened him to a stanchion in the center room. Louis was of no help. He lay on his side, looking at his bloody hand, weak and sick as a baby. So there I was, a lunatic and a coward for company, and all about, watching our little drama, the rats. The day dragged by. The supply boat wasn't due for another 12 days. I don't know what they could have done if they had come. We had only one way of summoning them, and that was to shoot off the stress rockets. But the rockets were 4 floors below. Even if they'd been right there in the gallery, I couldn't have opened the window to fire them. That night I tended the light, and its flame was devouring our oxygen. The following day, we lay thirst torment, starving, waiting. On the following night, I again tended the light with a small supply, a spare wicking we kept in the gallery had become exhausted, and quite suddenly, about midnight, the light went out. Nothing I could do. The wicks were stored 3 levels below. Nothing I could do. Nothing. From time to time, I'd strike a match to see the clock. And when I did, it lit up millions of red eyes all about us. All about, watching, waiting. Below, it had grown quiet. They cleaned us out now, and they too were waiting. All waiting. And then the rats suddenly were silent. And then I heard it. And then I saw the sky and the stars. The rats were gone. I went to the glass. Out there in the water, a small freighter, a banana boat, showing a few lights, came softly and innocently at us. The light was out. They didn't know. I wanted to open the window and call out to them, to warn them somehow, but I was afraid. What if the rats were hiding from me, tricking me? So I waited. She grounded very softly on the reef, not 200 yards from the quay. Grounded so gently that the man playing the cornet, was he a passenger or a crewman or watch? Didn't even stop playing. They tried washing her back off. I could have told them to save their fuel. The tide was rising, would have floated her free. And I waited. That's all. That's the story. The sun came up and there wasn't a rat in the whole quay. Every last one of that terrible army had left us, gone back to sea on their new ship. Auguste, insane asylum. He never recovered. And Louis, they took him to Cayenne where he died of blood poisoning from his bite. Oh yes, well, that's the whole of it. And now, if you'll excuse me, I must go set my traps. No, mouse traps. No rats in this lighthouse. I should say not. Life in the lights isn't bad. But sometimes when I see a strange vessel approaching, I get a little nervous, sure. Somewhere on the sea there's a little banana boat with our crew. That is, with our human crew. Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Tonight we have presented Three Skeleton Key by George Deduce, adapted for radio by James Poe and starring Vincent Price as Jean. Supporting Mr. Price were Harry Bartell as Auguste and Jeff Corey as Louis. Sound effects on Three Skeleton Key created by Cliff Thorsness and executed today by Mr. Thorsness, Gus Vyse, and Jack Sixsmith have been awarded the Best of the Year by Radio and Television Life magazine. Harry Espen was at the control panel, and special music was arranged and conducted by Del Cascaleo. Next week...
You are swimming for your life in the dangerous waters off the Florida Gulf Coast, about to be smashed by a launch carrying a vicious criminal who must kill you or die himself. And on shore, 500 yards away, the police are waiting to arrest you for murder. And there can be no escape.
Next week, we escape with an exciting tale of temptation and death on the Gulf Coast of Florida as John and Gwen Magny tell it in Danger at Matacumbe. Goodbye, then, until this same time next week, and once again, we offer you Escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
And now, hopefully you remember, the next time you hear some strange sounds outside your window, and you look out and you see a swarm of something coming towards you, our advice is not to stick around, but as our show suggests, do your best to escape. And if you do, then please join us for our next show, which kicks off our season of celebrating women. As you might have noticed, this show is basically all men in the cast, as was most of old-time radio, very male-featured. However, it's important to recognize that there were some amazing women on the air too, and not just celebrities, but great characters in series. So in November, we visit the dark and insidious world of crime. Murders have been committed, and it's going to take a detective with guts, street smarts, and amazing detective skills to find the killers and bring them to justice. And while you think that they may only be solved by men like Sherlock Holmes, Pat Novak, and Sergeant Friday, get ready to meet some amazing women like Phil Coe, policewoman Mary Sullivan, and Candy Madsen. Yes, join us next month, November 12th at 2 o'clock right here as we take a look at some amazing dame detectives in gumshoes and high heels. But now, the cast of those thrilling days of yesteryear. John Corona as the commissioner and the announcer who isn't Paul Frees. John Dingle as Dewey, worker one, and the announcer who is William Ryan. Martin Gustafson as the sophisticated songbird. Jay Power as Joan, Ross, and worker three. Steve Schroeder as Lamington and the announcer who is Paul Frees. As a Bruce Commission's assistant, worker two, and the announcer who isn't William Conrad. With the lush piano stylings of Peter Schroeder as the orchestra. And the intrepid sound effects by myself, Ben Dooley, and Pam Turlow. Today's show was transcribed and directed by our fearless Craig Gustafson. Join us once again for Dayton Detective Gumshoes and High Heels on Sunday, November 12th, right here at 2 o'clock p.m. Also, you can check us out on Facebook or at www.ttdyradio.com. Thank you again for living through those thrilling days of yesteryear so that we could bring them back to you. So thank you all so much. Of course, as always is the case, we have juice and cookies out in the lobby, plus also some Fannie Mae candy if you really feel like you want to take something home with you. And we'll see you on November 12th. Thank you.